So we start off day one with the Supreme Novices Hurdle, sponsored by Sky Bet. We all know that this is an incredibly important race as a punter because you go into this still king, undefeated in 28, and you know that what happens next often is decided, I think, for a lot of punters by getting this winner in. It's so important. Facile Vega, as we know, has been the anti-post favourite, has been odds-on at one stage, now at 5-2 roughly. Marine Nationale, Il Était Temps, Gaelic Warrior, all bigger prices. I don't think Gaelic Warrior will be going in this. Let's start with a man who rides in this race. Harry Cobden will be riding Tarmuras, who was a good winner of the Tolworth at Sandown last time. Harry, how would you rate your chance?
I think he's a great each-way bet. We certainly haven't seen the best of him. He's a sort of a horse that would never really... I haven't got to the bottom of him yet this season, so I'm certain there's more to come. My gut feeling is Facile Vega, before he got beat last time, was the best horse I've ever seen. I thought he was unbelievable last year in the Champion Bumper. He looked brilliant first couple of times over hurdles. He bombed out last time at Leopardstown. But Patrick Mullins is fairly certain they've got him back. Willie Mullins will make sure he bounces back. So I think if he does jump off, he'll take a lot of beating, but Tarmuras would be a great each-way bet. He certainly stays further than 2 miles, and if he's within 2 lengths turning in, I know one thing for sure, he'll stay galloping.
Harry, is that why you've gone to the Supreme, to not take on Hermes Allen?
You don't want your two
No, you don't, but
taking on each other, do you?
Tarmuras does look like a proper slayer in time.
Do you know, he is one of those horses that sort of can go a relentless gallop over 2 miles. You know, if he was rushed off his feet early, if I was within 2 or 3 lengths turning in, I'd be very confident he'd stay galloping up that hill.
How much influence do you have on Paul Nicholls, if any? And remember, he can't ever hear this, Harry, because he'd go off like a rocket if he could. But how much influence do you have? Because you are one of those jockeys that everyone in the business knows loves cash. So, and I don't mean punting, I just mean cash. Like, if I told you to run round naked here and we give you £1,000, you would be naked sooner than anything running around. Well, yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I had one like Harry, I'd be riding around naked every day.
I'll give you £2,000 not to run around. But do you have an influence? Because you don't want them to run together, or does Nicholls tell you?
No, I definitely don't want them to run together. Actually, I hate it when Nicholls' horses run together full stop, because 9 times out of 10, I pick the wrong one, and I think I probably got off more Grade 1 winners than I've ever ridden. I just
Surname and Clando's Oboe, the obvious one.
Yeah, that was a painful day, and Politolog winning the Champion Trace, and I rode Dynamite Dollars, and the list keeps going on and on. Grenadine and Politolog in the Tingle Creek. Yeah, I've had a few.
So what you're saying is we've got a terrific jockey on the panel, but one of the worst judges ever.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Matt. Would I have much of an influence? If I was very, very keen on a specific horse going somewhere, then I'd certainly voice my opinion. But Paul Nicholls is 13-time champion trainer or whatever it is, and he's placed a lot more horses than I ever have. So I'd only really properly voice my opinion if I thought he got it wrong or I was very, very confident.
Yeah, great relationship actually though Cobden and Nicholls have. Not many, I think, of his stable riders have really clicked, but I think you two do.
Yeah, this is my 5th season there now, and like looking back from when I first started, I was only just 19, and I certainly was not ready for any of it really. But I think Paul could see I was probably going towards the Tizard camp at the time, and I rode 48 winners for him that season or something, and I suppose he didn't want to lose me, so that was probably why he made the decision to give me the first jockey position. But I'm 50 times the rider mentally and physically that I was 5 years ago, I think, anyway.
I think Harry's attitude is brilliant. It's sort of the same sort of as Ruby. Like, if they go out, they win. They get beat, they get beat. Whereas Darryl won't mind saying it, Darryl beats himself up, whereas you, as a jockey, you'll go back and you'll judge your rides. Harry will go, listen, it's got beat, whereas other people would just go back on it and go back on it. And that's, I think, with a job like that, it's a great attitude to have.
We won't spend an hour on every race, but I think at some of these evenings it's quite nice when you get a little insight to one or two of the stars of the game that you don't always hear. And the thing about you, Harry, is that essentially there are, like the Darryl Jacobs, who live and breathe it and go crazy if they lose, and there are many like that. But you're someone who, basically, when you're not riding, you couldn't care two hoots about it. You go and do your own thing, don't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't watch racing on a day off, and I've always got plenty of other things to
when I'm on.
Keep me busy. No, definitely not.
You have to turn the colour down when he's on.
Thanks, Badge. Nice to have you on board. Lily, apologies, you have to listen to those awful stories from Batchelor. I hope things have changed since his day. But great to have you here. Thanks for coming in. If you could ride any of these in the Supreme, which one would you like to be on?
Fasselvega.
Right.
I just think a great horse. Why wouldn't you want to ride him?
Yeah.
But I think in each way chance, I think Rare Edition's got quite a nice chance.
Rare Edition, really?
If you were going each way, not for a winner.
At a big price.
Charlie Longsdon, innit?
Charlie Longsdon. Well, the horse had a little issue when he ran last time, and they.
What, at Huntingdon?
They say they've sorted that out.
That's it. We scored him this morning at Ben Pauling's, and he was brilliant. You know, he was very good, and I think maybe that was just an issue we needed to just sort out. And he's had his back done, and he's in good form.
You saw Rare Edition this morning, and he worked well.
Yep. No, schooling.
Schooling. Did you?
No, I was upsides him.
Right.
Sammy was schooling him.
Well, that sounds positive then. Rare Edition around 25 to 1, something like that, and certainly up until that defeat, and it wasn't a terrible defeat, he'd looked quite a promising horse. Steve, what do you think you'll end up tipping in the opener? Because the prices aren't going to change that much, I guess.
No. I think it's quite hard, however good a horse Fasselvega is, to come and win the Supreme after a defeat is not ideal, and I don't think Elite Tom's had enough credit for the performance last time. The speed figure was fantastic. The time was right up there, I think, quicker than Stateman. Stays really well, nice strong horse. I think at around 9 to 2, 5 to 1. I think I'd go that way, because a couple of the others, I think Marine National, you give that one a lot of respect as well, but you're slightly worried if the ground was a bit quick. At Cheltenham, I know the watering, but we'll have to see. But I'm quite sweet on Elite Tomp after that performance at the DRF.
OK, Elite Tomp for Steve. Batch, I mean, you've ridden quite a few of the Jersey Supreme Novice Hurdle winners. Which one do you think might be best suited to that tight Le Lawn track?
Le Lawns, yeah. I mean, listen, if Fasselvega turns up, he wins. You can put a line through Ireland. As soon as they jumped off with high definition, you could see they were going too quick. They just took each other on. They locked on, and Townham was probably happy when JJ fell off, but the damage was already done. And listen, you're not going to go to any race and say you're going to have an easy race, so you're prepared to have a hard race. There's enough time from there to Cheltenham to get over that. I do like Marine National. To me, he just screams everything that you want in a Supreme horse. He's got toe, he jumps, and he stays. Some people have mocked his jumping last time. It was on soft ground, and it was just a typical jump at the last of jumping out of soft ground. It wouldn't worry me. The ground wouldn't worry me. I mean, I'm not big into breeding, but his sire was Shamadel, so he should like better ground. But I'm not big into that. I mean, my sire was a builder, and I can't build a wall. And Matt's sire was a good presenter, so that says it all. So, Marine National for me.
Horrible individual.
Horrible individual.
Horrible. Barry Connell, really keen on... I mean, Barry is a funny man. He's gone through more jockeys than Nichols has, to be quite honest. But he's not a bad judge, Barry, and he does seem to be all over this horse. My feeling is that they messed up Fasselvega by changing the tactics this season by front running.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how...
I think they'll drop him right out.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
How many
I'd say in the middle more so.
How many Supremes did Ruby win from the front, though? Ruby's going to tell Townham to buck him out and just go...
He was held up in the midfield in the bumper.
Yeah.
He was held up in midfield in the Punchestown bumper when he won that Grade 1. This season, I think they just front run because they knew it was a case of getting him round. But after last time, he's not going to front run again.
It's one of those, mate. At Ireland, they said, look, you're the best horse in the race. Keep it simple. When you hear it all the time. If you're the best horse in the race, keep out of trouble, go out in front, But listen, it backfired in Ireland. But I'm probably in agreement with you. I think they will take their time a little bit.
I know it's boring in the first race of the favourite, but I could see it being smashed up. I
Yeah.
really could. I could see him going, because people remember he was 4-5 before that run, and now he's 5-2, and he was 11-4. He was 7-2 a week ago. Time will tell. Right, the second race on day one is the Sporting Life Arkle Challenge Trophy. Obviously, speedy 2-milers looking to be champion chase horses in the future. And of course, if Aidan Coleman was here, he'd be telling us that John Bon was an absolute good thing. He's not here, but I'm hoping he might be able to hear us at some stage in the next few minutes. Hey, Aidan, can you hear us at all at this stage?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Shall we give Aidan Coleman a round of applause, everyone?
Be careful what you say about Aidan. His sister's in the audience.
Yeah. Aidan, we've got 3,500 people here who bought tickets to come and get an autograph from you.
And they got stuck with me.
Well, they've gone better with Harry Cobden there. Harry owes me a drink for this.
To be fair, you know. Look, Aidan, thanks very much for coming on. As we explained, you were stitched up by being at Wetherby today as far as coming here, and we appreciate your time. We won't keep you too long. If I was asking you about John Bon in the Arkle, how confident would you be that you're on the best horse in the race?
Well, you get to Cheltenham and you just kind of... They're all kind of... Well, not they're all good horses. Well, they are all good horses, but there's a few formidable opponents and there's ones that you think you're comprehendably going to beat. We all know what the ones to beat are, like maybe someone like El Fabiola or Dysart Dynamo off the front end, but, you know, I wouldn't swap my horse for any in the race, is the answer to your question, basically.
Aidan, at Warwick last time, a lot of people in the audience will have seen that race. It was a really odd race. Were you kind of just playing with them?
Well, not really. No, it was an interesting manoeuvre from Harry, and you know, it was something that was. Look, my horse. Well, the horse has since won, by the way, and no one's really picked up on that at Calico, but it was an interesting manoeuvre from Harry. It did kind of put everything a bit out of kilter, but at the same time, where he made that manoeuvre to the line is a long way from home, so I wasn't too worried at the time, and I ended up kind of getting back there turning in, which at Warwick is plenty soon enough, and then he took a really good blow. So yeah, he probably made John Bon not as impressive as he would have been if he just followed him around, and we both would have had easier races. But you know, that's a different story.
And Aidan, I mean, I've spoken to you a few times on telly, and you've kind of said this, but not everyone in the audience will have heard. But I mean, this is a horse who is special, isn't it? You feel this is a special talent.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm 7 from 8 on him, you know, riding him. So I think you don't need my opinion to think he's a horse on the up and is very talented. Yeah.
Better chaser than hurdler?
We'll see. He's not just yet. He won 2 Grade 2s over hurdles. He's only won 1 and a Grade 1, and he's won 1 Grade 1 and 1 Grade 2 over fences. He schooled this morning, and he was very, very good. He's very, very good.
Okay. And you got lots of other rides, but 2 big ones. First of all, just Epatante. I mean, she looked back to her best last time. Admittedly dropped in grade, but she looked as though she was right in the right place.
Yeah, I think her last run, I think the performance was very impressive, but the second mare in that race was well below her in rating. So, you know, anything other than what she did would have been very disappointing, but she can only win. I said that both times I got off her at Newcastle and Kempton that she felt every bit as good as last year. Just she bumped into Constitution Hill. And
the old boy, Paisley Park, it seems all systems go. I mean, there is a little bit of a sign of a bit of rain around, and that obviously would help you.
He goes on most grounds. I think as long as they go fast, he'll have. He's a great each-way chance, the horse. Maybe at 11, he mightn't have the legs to win a stairs hurdle at this stage, but he has won a Grade 1 in his penultimate start. So he's a horse that could be in the money, but at his age, it's he might be vulnerable to fresher legs.
And your sister's in the audience tonight, and she specifically asked me to say to you...
Well, that's a lie.
No, she did. She said, ask Aidan, she said, ask my brother, outside of those 3, is there any spare, anything else that, or not even a spare, but something else you're riding that you're looking forward to that isn't quite so obvious?
Watch this space.
What race is that in?
Aidan,
Fox Hunters.
we'll let you get back to the bingo. Have a good night.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks. Bye bye.
Cheers, Aidan. You, his sister, would stitch me up there. Right, okay, let's go down the panel and quickly mop this up. So, as you probably know, El Fabiolo is going to be vying for favouritism with John Bon. It's going to be big prices outside those two. Steve, let's start with you. Is this a match, effectively? Like, one or the other will win this?
I think so. I mean, a lot of people like Dysart Dynamo, but I'm not sure he'll get up the hill. I don't know, maybe others will disagree, but I think the stay-in challenge will be a bit much. El Fabiolo, for me, the Irish form is stronger than what we've seen. Obviously, you don't need to be a genius to work that out. I think the run at Warwick last time will probably help John Bon, that he was taken on for a bit. But what El Fabiolo achieved in Ireland was on a different level so far. So I'm quite keen on El Fabiolo.
Cobbers?
I think John Bon is a God-given certainty.
That's what the audience likes.
To do what?
That's what it likes.
Honestly, I think he's an unbelievable horse. I was a big doubter at the start of the season. But you think, last year as a novice, he had a hard race in the Supreme when he got absolutely smashed by probably one of the greatest horses we've ever seen in Constitution Hill. Then he went to Aintree. And, like, for a horse to run at Aintree and go and win there after having a hard race at Cheltenham, I promise you, like, the amount of horses I've ridden for Nichols that have gone to Cheltenham and gone to Aintree, they, like, 80% of them are, like, flop. Like, they go there and run no race, because it's not just the race at Cheltenham, it's the occasion. They're on edge beforehand, 70,000 people. Like, they're all there trying their absolute best, and we give them a hard race, even if they finish fourth. And this John Bon, he had a hard race there. He turned up at Aintree in the novice last year, beat El Fabiolo. I know El Fabiolo missed the last or the second last or whatever it was. But this horse really puts his head out. He's a proper trier. Aidan Coleman believes in him. Henderson's had him half fit all season. He's going to go there 110%, and I honestly think he will win.
I'm not sure it's worth going to anyone else, but Lily, I mean, Cobden says it's a certainty. I mean, you have to share a weighing room with him. Is he reliable? I mean, we've kind of suggested already tonight that maybe he's not. That's Cobden, not John Bon.
Well, I think that, yeah, Harry's right. I wouldn't see why you wouldn't go with John Bon. I think he's, like, you know, Henderson, like Harry said, he's half fit, and, you know, I think he'd be a right shout.
Yeah, related, of course, to the great Duvan. Batch, if you could sit on one of these and ping round like you did in the Hennessy, which one would it be?
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with Harry. I think John Bon will jump in some submission. Dysart Dynamo will suit the old course because it's a lot shorter than Leopardstown. He'll go off. He's got a bit of toe. But El Fabiolo does not jump good enough for me. He's quite heavy-headed horse. Lands out on his head a couple of times, and a couple of fences around Cheltenham might catch him out, and he does not jump as good as John Bon. It's an absolute good thing. Totally agree.
Well, I think John Bon as well, but let's just remember there's only one truly professional tipster on this channel, panel, and it is, of course, Steve, and he says Il Fabiolo, so you can make your own minds up, but I think pretty strong case from Cobden there.
You won't be Templegate for long, will you?
I am
And strangely enough, Batch, you're up for any job that's going at the
Absolutely, yeah.
And the big boss is here. Sorry, Steve, you're a lovely fella, but...
Fortunately, they'd run the races, so we'll find out, won't we?
Oh, there's a man who's on a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Right, Champion Hurdle, 3:30, first really big one of the week. Most people just think Constitution Hill is one of the best we've ever seen and will just go and win. I think like that, but I'm not so foolish as to ignore State Man because he does keep winning. So to say Constitution Hill is a certainty, I think is quite hard when we don't know how good State Man will be. But I don't know, we got some form lines. I still think Constitution Hill is better. Steve, let's start with you this time. Each way is hard in this race, isn't it? Unless you're betting without the favourite.
Yeah. I suppose if you're going to have an each-way bet, do it now because you'll get the 3 places, non-runner, no bet, and this could cut up to 6 or 7. And Sky Bet is still going each way without Constitution Hill. And horses I like to move it to 6-1 in that market, which I think 6-1 to get a place when you've got Constitution Hill in there as well. you've almost got a free bet at the horse coming second, which I know is probably a tall order past State Man. But if you like a bit of each way thievery, I think that's quite a good way to do it, because obviously as soon as the entries come out, you don't get none on a no bet maybe, and if there's 6 on the day, you won't get 3 places. So if you're thinking of doing an each way bet on the champion hurdle, I'd do it now.
Yeah. I mean, I thought at big prices, if you were either betting without or even with, on the non-runner no bet, Epatante isn't the worst 33 to 1 shot to try and hit the frame. On the fact that if it goes for the mares, you still get your money back. I did say to Rich Ritchie about Sharjah, because again, he's been placed, he's just the kind of horse that picks up pieces. But he had this idea that Sharjah might go for the county hurdle, and he was saying that, you know, Vauban will finish in front of Sharjah. It's hard, Batch. Other than the fact we're going to see something possibly very special, is that perhaps what this race is more about than betting?
I think so, yeah. I mean, horses only run 5 times, but what you've seen so far, he's very special. State Man, we don't really know how good he is. He's taking on a real machine. I remember Aidan last year, when they took each other on in the Supremes, he was walking down to go and watch the Arkle, and Aidan said, I've never gone to the second last on a horse, and thought, it is going to take an absolute aeroplane to come past me. And he said, and all of a sudden, Constitution Hill just came past him and left him for dead. So, yeah, I think he's, as Harry said, I think he's a very, very special horse. And I think you just got to watch it and enjoy it. Yeah,
I did have a word with Michael Buckley today. And funny enough, not to be repeated this conversation, because he said, don't tell anyone. So we're talking, he was being a bit pessimistic, to be honest. He was saying, you know, you just don't win Grade 1 championship races as easily as everyone wants Constitution Hill to win. He was saying that, you know, if we only win a length or 2 lengths, everyone's going to be disappointed. So he said to me, how far do you think we'll win? And I said, well, I had a quick think, and I said, OK, well, I'll go 6 lengths. 6 lengths from State Man. I thought that was fair, because Nico might ease down and State Man will keep battling away. 6 lengths. And he said, right, 50 quid, it's more than 6 lengths. And from an owner who'd been pessimistic, suddenly he was betting 50 quid. And I know 50 quid's not a massive amount, but it was just for fun. And he seemed, suddenly he got his confidence back.
So you know the orders you're going to give to Nico coming over the line. Make sure you win one.
Rein it back, man. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I have a word. Harry, obviously you'd want to ride Constitution Hill, and every jockey in the world would want to.
Yeah. Look, I haven't been around for as long as Matt Chapman or Mattie Batchelor, but I think this could be one of the best racehorses I've ever seen, and he is the one horse that I would have most confidence in all week of winning. Yeah.
I mean, Lily, it's kind of a race you can't say too much about. We're basically going to see a superstar, and it's hard with the each way, because unless they fall over, you've got to say Constitution Hill and State Man are going to get in the 3. So unless you're betting without the favourite, you're looking at one place that you're trying to grab. It's kind of a race for watching.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like Harry said, I think it's one of the best horses we've seen, and I'd just love to see him go and win, and look how far.
Yeah. OK, and Steve, did you come up with something each way?
Well, I was just
I like to move it.
In the market without the favourite, with Sky Bet, with 3 places, so you might be only having to beat a couple of horses home to get,
I'd love to see you sing that song, Steve.
Yeah, you're the only one who would. So yeah.
Hold on, who else would like to hear Steve sing that song?
So I haven't got the...
Go on, Steve.
Go on, Steve.
Move it.
I'm too old, man. I'm not as young as you. I don't know these...
Jesus, you've had a whole paper round then.
Certainly have, mate, yeah. I'm not up with the hit parade. Yeah, but Constitution Hill's going to win by miles, isn't he? So.
Well, I hope he is. I really do. I hope you're going to enjoy a really good horse there. Right, the 4:10 is the race I absolutely hate. The Mares Hurdle Grade 1. It just ruins all the other races. But someone's going to win it, and it might well be my old friend Honeysuckle. Marie's Rock might well go for the Stayers. Brandy Love is meant to be coming back after a long layoff. Echoes in Rain and Love Envoy in there as well. Let's start with Harry Cobden this time. Harry, if you could ride any of these, which one?
Honeysuckle would be the one I go for. And look, she's obviously the favourite, but she is, or she has been, and she still is, the most fantastic mare we've probably seen since the one that Dawn Run, was it, that won the Gold Cup and the Champion Hurdle. So I'd definitely ride her. I'd I don't think Marie's Rock will go for this race.
No.
I think she'll go for the stayers. And I'm fairly certain Epatante will go for this as well, she, Matt?
I'd have a feeling Epatante might end up in the champion, but
Well, you could
they'll
be
think
right.
it's got
Will you
as
take...
much chance as being placed there as placed here, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Marie's a stay, though. She does the lot early, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She runs with the choke out a little bit.
Especially with Nico's hands. He's
They
gonna
have
just
terrible hands.
get
don't
him
they?
down a bit. But no, I think Honeysuckle's the one, and I think Marie's Rock will go for the stairs. So it's Honeysuckle for me.
Honeysuckle for Harry. Batch, what would you go for here? It sounds like you're not a fan of Nico's hands.
No, I wasn't a joke. I was just jumping on the bandwagon. I think it's... I know you want her to run in the champion hurdle to defend her crown, but I think bottom line is she can't defend her crown. So the owner's going to go one last hurrah. She'll win this. Yeah, love to ride her because everyone loves a suckle, don't they? The suckle, sorry.
Not often a Sun audience boos about things like that, to be honest. Steve?
Well, I hope Epatante goes for the champion hurdle as well, because I've backed her at 50 to 1 each way. So, but I think she'll be in this, and I think she's been nearly as good this year as ever, really, and I think she'd have a fantastic chance of winning. You know, she's not got Constitution Hill to get past this time, has she? And she was very good last time, and I think the triple suits, and I think she's got a real good chance.
Lily, some tremendous mares in here, which is the one that, if the ride came up for grabs and they said, we want Pinchin, which one would you hope cries for Pinchin?
Oh, I'd love to ride Honeysuckle.
Would you?
Yeah, I think this is a great race for her to run in.
Okay. And when those really good ones slightly deteriorate, though, she's only about £5 deteriorated, but when they go, do you think they lose that slight will to go for it?
Well, I really hope that she hasn't lost that slight will to go for it, because, she is, like, Harry said, one of the best mares, and it'd just be great for her to go and, get back and win again, I suppose.
Yeah. Look, I've made my thoughts probably very clear to all of you, I suspect, over the last few weeks about Honeysuckle. If she wins, we'll all cheer her home, but there'll be, in the back of your mind, you'll be just thinking, well, that's just pathetic, when you could have been running in against Constitution Hill, and you're the dual champion hurdler, just desperately trying to nick a few quid, as far as I can see. I like Love Envoy each way in this race. I think she's underestimated. She keeps winning. She becomes more and more impressive every time she does win. And I think she will run huge here each way. I really like Love Envoy. I like those horses that just progress and progress and progress. And every time you ask her for a bit more, she brings it. So it'll be Love Envoy for me in my Sun tipping column. I'm ready already. Right. Well, not to be missed. Right. We're going to go to the Wednesday. We start with the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. And the hot favourite here, many say that only the jockey can get it beat. It is Hermes Allen, ridden by Harry Cobden. Is this your banker of the week, Harry?
I think he's probably one of my best chances. He's been absolutely fantastic all year. We thought he was related to some form of sheep at the start of the season. Didn't really show very much. He's quite small. Terrible workhorse at one stage, and the only thing he ever did well was jump, but he's progressed massively. Mr. Nichols started him off at the start of the season in a novice hurdle at Stratford, which he romped in by 25 lengths. And from then on, he went to a Grade 2 at Cheltenham. We thought he'd run okay, but we didn't think he was good enough. He absolutely bolted up there and looked quite a good horse. So then he went to the Challow, took on probably the best novices in this country at the time, and won it in a hat canter. The only thing is, you could possibly question some of the form in that race, and maybe the Irish horses are a lot better than the English ones this year, but this horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. Every time he's gone to the races, all he's done is win. He's got a great attitude. He's very, very hardy. And I worked him in the week, and he felt fantastic. So he's going there in top-class form. And I genuinely think he's a worthy 5-2 favourite.
When you ride these good ones, Harry, because I mean you've ridden enough now, even though you're not ancient and you've been with Nichols 5 seasons, you were saying, like. But when you get on this horse, do you immediately, as a rider, know it's something that's good?
Yeah, this horse has got a bit of class about him. He just feels good.
What is that? Just that when you ask him to do anything, he immediately responds?
No, just those. Batch would be able to tell you those real good horses. Like they've just got that little bit extra that other horses don't have. Like they can jump better. And the real good ones like Brave Man's Game and Hermes Allen and those other like real probably good horses like Constitution Hill, and I'm sure Nico would say the same about Shiskin and Altior. They can just do things other horses can't. They can take lengths out of horses here or there, and they can stand off further away, and they've just got the edge on the other very good horses. And this lad, he could just be very good.
Not many on the track, Batch, but did you ride some good ones at home?
Coney Greer rode, Matt. That was a proper horse.
Until Nico,
yeah. No, listen, you can totally understand where Harry's come from, and the only way I can describe it is getting in a Bentley and driving a three-wheeled van. I mean, I rode plenty of three-wheel vans, but I was lucky enough to sit. Carruthers, he was okay and he was good, but Coney Greer was just another level. When everything is easy for them, as you say, they're jumping, they travel, and everyone thinks you're going quick, and you're not. You're just absolutely cruising. You're only in second gear, so there's.
What was that story? Was it you, Togster, that Coney Greer won, and you
Yeah.
had a look round or something, and you thought, I've got another circuit to go. Or
So
something.
yeah, you Togster. Yeah, his first time over hurdles. Again, Bradstocks, they love to jump out and make the running. We jumped out, made the running, gone round turning into the straight, and I thought to myself, oh, Batch, you have made some cock up. I just thought, I looked round and I must have been a hurdle clear. And I was like, no. Then I'm going back in my mind to count how many hurdles I jumped. I never saw many strides in my career, but the third last and the second last, I just crashed through because I'm still trying to think how many hurdles I jumped. It was only when I got to the last and I heard the commentator say, and they come into the last, and I went, thank God for that. But yeah, it was just, I thought I was in for a massive rollicking, but proper tall.
So when you all say, like, surely they can count to 6 or 7, now you know the problems we're dealing with. Yeah. Your selection in this will be?
Listen, I think Hermes Allen does look the real deal, and I think he will run there. I do like Gaelic Warrior. He's running a handicap carrying 12 stone was a good run. And I know, listen, he jumps right, but in the handicap over in Ireland, he buried him a little bit, and when he had the horse upside him, he stayed straight. So whoever rides him, I think, pull down and ride him. So you can creep, get a bit of cover, you'll be jumping straight, and then come to 3 out or 2 out. If you make your way over to the right-hand side, so you get the stand side, like Harry would tell you, if he sees Gaelic Warrior going over to the right, he ain't going to go up on his inside. He ain't going to go to the right of him because he knows he jumps right. So as a jockey, you're going to go over to the stand side, try and keep him straight. Listen, there's plenty in there. I'll give him a chance. Good land. Barry Connell's very keen on that. Listen, I'd love to see Harry win it, and we've got to beat the Irish sometimes. So I'm going to go with Hermes Allen, Gaelic Warrior. I just don't disregard him because that running a handicap was a good run.
Yeah, I think Gaelic Warrior's a proper horse. Harry would be too busy carrying to 7 to worry about the right and the left. He's oh God.
What? Won't even have to pick the stick up.
Oh yes, that's what we like.
Just talk it home. Steve, what do you reckon we're going to be tipping in this race?
I think the Irish form's a bit better, sorry. I think Grade 1 form as well.
Job, do you?
Well, we'll see. Well, actually, I like the 2 horses you like, so I like Gaelic Warrior. I think the trip will be ideal, but Goodland as well has already performed at the highest level. I think it's a superb jumper as well, and it's got more to come, so I'm between Gaelic Warrior and Goodland for this.
And Lily, if Cobden sadly couldn't take, and Nichols said, who's free, would Hermes Allen be the one for you, or would you say, no, actually, I want to ride something else?
I think he would. I think he handles all the ground and he's just class above all the rest.
Yeah. Won well at Newbury last time, didn't he? To be fair, he won by a distance, but I'm not so sure. I'm a Gaelic Warrior man for what it's worth. Should have won the Boodles last year, and I still can't believe it didn't win. I can't get over that.
Matt, a little each way bet, but would Irish Point, are they fairly keen to run him in the Ballymore or not?
I'm not sure a decision has been absolutely made yet, to be honest.
Because I do like that horse, and I think if he does run, he's a great each way bet at 16-1 if he turns up.
He'd be a lot more than that if he does turn up.
Would he?
You get about 40 at the moment.
Yeah, I just like that horse, and I think he.
Any reason particularly?
I just saw him run one day, and I just thought he could be a horse that could turn up there, and if he was in top class form, he could just run into the 3.
Okay, Irish Point, non-runner, no bet. You get big prices at the moment. Worth a second look for Harry. 210, of course, is the Brown Advisory. We're going the staying trip, the RSA chase to a lot of people still, but it is the Brown Advisory. And Jerry Colomb is going to be the favourite here of the Real Whacker, possibly Sir Gerhard, Time Hill, and then the old Giraffe Gala de Menil, who win the National Hunt Chase. Slow as an old boat, that horse. I'm going to go first here, actually, because I don't want anyone to take my thunder. I think Time Hill is so massively overpriced for this race because he was a bit sticky in his jumping to start with, but he got it all together. He's a horse who went very close to winning a Stairs hurdle. He was given the worst ride Richard Johnson ever gave a horse in the novice hurdle at Cheltenham, and I think he's going to give Mihal Nolan a massive run in this. Steve, I'll go with you first. You probably think Time Hill jumps a bit stickily, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I loved him as a hurdle. I kept tipping him and he kept coming second, which is a story of my life. But yeah, I think he's definitely got some improvement to do with his jumping, but the engine will get him home, I think, and he's on my shortlist.
Good.
You may have detected a northern accent from me, and I hope the Real Whacker does the business for the north. I think the Dipper win was good, and I do like looking at times, and it was a good time. And I think if he can just improve a bit more, I think he's right in this, the Real Whacker.
The Real Whacker. Yeah. I've sort of got this vision of the jockey giving it 12, getting disqualified the next week, and then explaining to the panel, look, the horse's name said what I did. The Real Whacker. It won't be doing that, though. Do you think anyone will be disqualified at Cheltenham, Harry? Do you think anyone will get disqualified?
100%.
Massive.
And will they be Irish?
They could be Welsh as well.
Sean Byrne?
Let's not discriminate. Or English.
No, so, look, I cannot express to you, if you got 70 or 80,000 people stood in the stands screaming your horse home or various other horses around your home, you will get carried away. Now, I definitely won't get carried away because I've been thinking about it for the last 3 months. We have had the stewards on top of us. We had the bedding period. We've had all this practice running up to Cheltenham, so the English jockeys should be very much ready for it. But the lads in Ireland, they have had no bedding period. They have had the stewards go over to Ireland on a couple of occasions and talk to them. But I promise you now, there will be, I'm not saying a silly person or a thick person, there could possibly be a young person where the day could just overcome them and they could get carried away up the running. Someone like Davy Russell or Paul Townsend or Rachel Blackmore, I can't see it happening, but I could just see a young claimer just potentially getting carried away.
We don't want to get bogged down in this conversation now, and I've bored people to death over this, but can you just explain to me one thing, just ask you one thing as a top rider who's got every chance. Your horse, you've got your horse rolling, your horse is responding every time you ask it. So you know the horse is having a great time, it's bred to do what it's doing, it's loving it, and then you reach a point where you have to stop, even though you know your horse is going forward every time you ask it. How easy is that you're rocking and rolling?
Well, it's not easy at all. And as an English jockey, we've had, well, since the 13th of February, or was it, no, January, was it?
January, yeah.
Yeah, 13th of January to get into this sort of new style of riding, should I say. But, if your horse comes off the bridle at the third last, which could definitely happen if you go quick early at Cheltenham this year in a couple of races or whatever, and you just give one a little flick behind the saddle, and then before you get to the second last, you give one another flick, and then you turn in and you're on the heels of the leaders, but you're 4 lengths behind, but you're still sort of getting there, but you're not really getting there, and then you give them like 3 before the second last. Before you know it, you've hit it 5 times. You get to the last, you're thinking, I could win this, and then you've got like 2 hits left, and you've got a furlong and a half to run. So you've got 2 hits and a furlong and a half. You've got 80,000 people screaming at you there, and then all you're thinking about is the winning line and the glory and all the rest of it that goes with it. And before you know it, you've hit the horse 9 times. You've given it a fantastic ride, but you've got a 14-day ban. And before you know it, you miss the ride in the Grand National. So as a jockey, you have to be very aware going to Cheltenham this year.
Yeah, it is a big issue. I know people get bored of chatting about it. And remember, this is, for those of us who campaign a little bit, it's not about now. This is not about now. Because trust me, in 2 years' time, they'll knock off another couple. 4 years' time, they'll knock off another couple. And then it will just go crazy. Right, let's move on and try and find the winner of this race.
The real whacker for me.
No, I wasn't going to come to you, Batchelor.
Okay.
I was trying to find the winner.
Well, that will win. That will win.
But at least we've got that out of the way.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Steve's already... I think you... Are you
Cursed the real whacker as
you're
well.
going the real wanker.
Yeah.
Lily, what do you fancy?
I'd have to have the real whacker.
Real whacker for you. I'm going to be Time Will. Did you make a selection in the end?
No. Jerry Colomb, however you say this horse. I saw him at Sandown, and I rode in the race that he won there last time out. I rode a horse called Monmoral, who used to be at like a fairly decent level. I promise you, this horse is a good thing, and I can really see this horse winning.
OK. We've got 2 good things so far from Harry, who did admit at the start that he was a hopeless tipster. But 2 certainties. Hermes, Allen and this. Right, let's go on to the Queen Mother Champion Chase. And Energumene is in favourite, still in some lists, despite that horrible run last time. Edward Stone, of course, was probably just given a little bit too much to do when beaten by Editor Tajit, who keeps winning at massive prices for a trainer who knows the time of day. Harry, you'll probably ride Gredatin in this, won't you?
Great each-way bet, Matt.
Let's move on. Right. Really?
Fantastic each-way bet.
Oh,
right.
God, don't start.
So...
Oh, no.
Editor G is 6-1, right?
Yeah.
And if you went to Sandown last year, or wherever you went, and you said Editor G or Gredatin, what would you say?
Gredatin.
There we go.
Yeah, but this is at Cheltenham.
So Editor G is 6-1. The last time I rode Gredatin around Cheltenham, I think was in the Champion Chase 2 years ago.
Finished 3rd, didn't he?
Finished 3rd or 4th. He was literally beaten a length and a quarter.
But it was the worst race ever.
Yeah, but I promise you, I was detached halfway down the back and
Why? What were you doing?
well, I don't know what I was doing really, but I was probably 4 lengths detached halfway down the back, and I turned in and I honestly thought I'd win, and I was half riding him to run well. This horse is way better than he was then. He's been to the back of the hill at Lambourne, worked like an absolute machine, and I'm not saying he's going to win, but he's a good each-way bet at 33-1.
OK. I mean, I really like you, Harry. You've been great on this panel so far. But if Gredatin finishes in the first 3 in the Champion Chase, you know it's a shit race.
All right.
It's not Sandown at the end of the day.
I'm
He only
telling
wins
you.
at Sandown because no one else turns up.
I will make sure this horse finishes in the first 3.
You can just imagine the camera. Gredatin looking completely not off, 25 lengths off the pace, desperately trying to nick 3rd. Batch, I never thought I'd say this, but try and speak some sense.
Oh, best shut up there. Now, Edward Stone for me, I just think... I think they rode Edward Stone like that because they knew he was going to be a bit fresh, done a bit too much too early. He did head Edgetagi up the straight, and then he just out-battled him. He will come on for that run. And Energumene, I know they come out with the excuses that obviously didn't like the white fences and things like that. And I thought to myself, I did look on Google Maps, and to be fair to Willie, where he trains is Carlo, isn't it? And there's no B&Qs around that way, so he couldn't get any white paint. But I see today on Twitter he shipped some in, so hopefully Ruby's been out there with painting the white fence. But yeah, I'm just a massive fan of Edwardstone. I really like the horse.
Yeah. The white paint thing is just like, and I know what you're going to say, so don't. But the white paint is like the sun in the horse's eyes. I mean, like, it's just something people say, like, there's no way any jockey could possibly know whether the sun was in the horse's eyes, is it? It's physically impossible to know. The horse fell. Why it fell, it's impossible to know. But the white paint thing is just an utter nonsense, I think.
Apparently they were white years ago. John Joe said.
Everyone know what the white paint thing is, yeah? Like, they've changed the colours of the fences from orange to white.
John Joe said they were white, and then someone had a bright idea and changed it to orange. And now they've changed them back. Yeah, I don't buy it, to be honest.
Yeah. Might have helped you back in the day, though.
I don't mean nothing about me. I'd never seen a stride in my life. So white, yellow, pink.
Rainbow fences.
Wouldn't have mattered.
Steve, Champion Chase, who's the best horse in here? Who wins?
Edwardstone. Doesn't matter what colour the fences are, I don't think. He made a couple of big moves in that race last time and still did well to finish as close as he did, I thought. Just ran out to puff a bit, and like Matt said, he'll come on for the run. I'm not a big fan of horses coming to Cheltenham on the back of a bad run. Obviously, they can win again, but Energumen's blotted his copybook a bit there, especially smashing through the last, wasn't it? And I just think Edwardstone's got a lot of quality and will win.
I hope Energumen does win, because then Tony Bloom would buy us some more players.
There you go.
Seagulls!
God. Well, that got a big cheer, Batch.
They haven't got a clue, this lot.
I thought
Oh,
I was
not
on
about.
way from
No one cares about that team. Anyway, Tottenham. Yes, the one thing I'd say about any Mullins horse, and this is my Facile Vega horse, those Mullins horses who got beat, suddenly they turn up at Cheltenham and they can look like completely different animals. Like even the Vautours who went round there on the bridle sort of thing, hadn't always done that in their preps, and he does rev them up in whatever way trainers rev them up. Lily, if you could ride anything in the Champion Chase, what would you like to be on top?
It'd have to be Edwardstone, I think, because last run he was the best horse in the race, I think, and I think he should.
No one giving Editor G any credit at all? Is he?
I'd just like to be riding Edwardstone. I think his last run was, very good.
I think TC would like Top Cat Tom Cannon, who's an excellent lad and a really good jockey. But I think that was a classic example, Harry, of one of those. Right, if he could ride it again, he'd have ridden it slightly closer to the pace. Yeah. And that kind of thing happens. It's not a criticism.
No, definitely. And look, Tom was probably fully aware that he gave the horse plenty to do, but I can guarantee you he will not be that far back.
I think that was
Wednesday.
the plan,
Yeah, I know.
They knew he was going to be fresh, so they'd rather him just switch off.
I think it would be a completely different race this time.
Totally agree, yeah.
I think Energumen will want to make sure that they go probably a bit more of a gallop, and he'll be right up on the pace and probably forcing Editor G a bit. So I think they'll go faster, and I think Cannon will probably have a smoother sort of passage through the race, and he'll have his mind on one horse, and that'll be Energumen, and he'll turn in and he'll have him to shoot at, and I think Edwardstone will go by him.
He never used to like driving Cannon to the races when he first started. So like when all the ones down local, like your Aspels, me, Bulge, Jamie Moore, every time he used to meet somewhere like Godstone or something like that, so Cannon would always be the first there, and he'd be out the car with his bag ready to put in the boot, and we're like, we got to teach this little shit a lesson. He's a bit granite, like he's got. So we said one day, so right, it was all going up to Fakenham. So he said, Tommy, we'll meet you at Godstone. He said, right, yeah, okay, no worries. We'll meet you there, whatever time it was, 10 o'clock. We rung all the other boys, said, right, get there, 9:45, park your car around the corner so he can't see it. We've all hid in someone's garden. So Tommy's turned up. He's looking for us all. And all of a sudden, we've just ran out this bush, opened his boot, filled the car up, said, right, you're driving, you tight little shit.
Poor old Tom.
Poor old Tommy.
Poor old Tom Cannon. He's done well for himself now, though. I described Edwardstone as a bit dull early in the season, but he's good, and I still stick by that. I don't think he's going to be the most exciting Champion Chase winner if he wins it of all time, but I think he is a very solid horse. It's lovely having you, Batch. I'm not sure you'll be back next year, but it's been terrific so far. Lizzie Kelly's lawyers have already sent a message in. We're going to go to the champion bumper. Always quite hard when you've got a sort of all-UK panel and all the horses fancied Irish. Are you going to ride Captain Teague in this, Harry?
I ride Captain T. He won a point-to-point in Ireland first amount. Tom Malone, the bloodstock agent, told me it was the best point-to-point that was ran in Ireland all last year.
No bigger crook.
Take that how you want to take it. So he went to Plumpton first time out. We liked him a lot. He's a very good workhorse at home. So he went there and won as he liked around quite a tight track, which is Plumpton. And he's going there. He's a 20-to-1 shot. I think he...
Bigger.
Is he?
25, yeah.
But he could be the second shortest priced English trained horse behind Queen's Gamble, is he?
Yes, he would be, yeah.
Yeah. So, look, this year, the bumper horses in Ireland do look like different strawberries. And what was the Kylie horse that won the other day? Is it A Dream to Share? Yeah.
Dream to Share, yeah. Current favourite.
Yeah, so, look, I think that is the horse to beat. And we haven't seen a horse as good as that running in bumpers in England or Ireland. So I think he's definitely the very much worthy favourite of the race. But this horse could be a good each-way bet. The boss, Nichols, seems to think that he's working a lot better now than he was before Plumpton, and he said he's improving all the time. So I think he could just be a nice little each-way bet.
OK, I'm going to have a little bit of Chapeau de Soleil, who got beat last time, but I suspect he's better than that. Steve, is there any of the bumper horses taking your eye?
The horse that beat Chapeau de Soleil, actually. Oh. I thought had a good chance, better days ahead, wasn't it?
Right, yeah.
Maybe wants the bit of rain, that's the only thing. And A Dream to Share was extremely impressive, so is the right favourite, I think.
Lily, any other bumper? I mean, I know it's hard because not many of them been over here, but any one of these, I mean, Fun was very impressive, wasn't it? It's William Mullins.
Lily, will you give Willie a ring? You're practically family now. Uncle Willie, would you give him a ring, see if there's any spares?
That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Might as well try.
I think A Dream to Share. I think his form was rock solid.
He's a horrible individual, isn't he? Look at him. Horrible man. Sorry, which one?
A Dream to Share. I think his form was rock solid.
John Kiley then for JP McManus. Batch, did you have a selection?
I like A Dream to Share. I like horses that have been battle-hard and had 3 runs. If you look at It's For Me, just the 1 run. Sometimes you can go to Cheltenham and they can be a bit overwhelmed. So for that, A Dream to Share with all its experience and the fact that JP's brought it. And it'd be interesting to see what... I don't think Willie Mullins probably really know their best one yet, and be interesting to see what Patrick rides, I think.
No. I mean, history dictates that they don't know because
Yeah.
they get it wrong time and time again. You can
You've
pick
seen
a
the
big
second,
price.
third string win sometimes in the past, so yeah, I don't think.
Interesting to see if Ushie Murphy, he's meant to be chalking up on something, isn't
He will absolutely shit himself.
Well, it hasn't happened to all the other flat
He
riders.
Martin Dwyer rode in the... You're right there? Oh, you best have a coffee.
Don't worry, he's getting ready to chuck it at you.
Yeah, so Martin Dwyer rode in the entry bumper years ago, and he come back in, and he said, he was coming in, I think it was after the top and whatever, he said it was like a scene from Save It Private Ryan. He said, sod that.
I did wonder whether Frankie would try and ride in it actually this year. But
No kahunas.
says the man who's just bottled it and given up, yeah.
It's only because my hip give away.
You've got a new one now.
Got a new one, yeah. Like the Bionic Man. I'll run up here tonight.